Fyodor Tyutchev is a central figure in the Russian poetic canon, yet his works remain largely unknown outside Russia. This video explores why, focusing on the challenges of translating his poetry into Arabic. Tyutchev is celebrated in Russia for his meditative and expressive love lyrics, but every poetic tradition has its own masters in these genres. As a result, foreign audiences often overlook his unique voice. In this series, we'll delve into the implicit meanings of Tyutchev's poems and examine what is lost or transformed when his verses are translated into Arabic. Let's begin our journey into the world of cross-cultural poetry and translation. Despite his status in Russia, Tyutchev's poetry has not achieved widespread recognition abroad. One reason is that the core elements of his literary myth, his meditative style and expressive love lyrics, are not in high demand in other cultures which have their own established poetic traditions. Even his most famous poem, Silentium, echoes themes already present in Eastern poetry. Furthermore, Tyutchev's personal life and political writings, which contribute to his myth in Russia, do not necessarily resonate with international readers. This scene sets the stage for understanding why translating Tyutchev into Arabic is both rare and challenging. It wasn't until 2005 that Tyutchev's poems were translated into Arabic and published in the Syrian literary journal Majalat al-Adab al-Alamiya. Adnan Jamis and Ahmed Nazar translated a total of 51 poems, introducing Tyutchev to Arabic readers for the first time. These translations were part of a broader effort to acquaint Arab audiences with significant foreign authors. The translators chose to use unrhymed free verse, prioritizing accuracy over rhyme and meter. This approach reflects modern translation trends, but also raises questions about what is lost when poetic form is sacrificed for meaning. One of the greatest challenges in translating poetry is conveying its implicit content, the hidden meanings and subtle nuances that go beyond the literal words. In Tyutchev's case, much of the poem's depth lies in its subtext, which is often shaped by cultural, linguistic, and stylistic elements unique to Russian. Translators must decide what to prioritize: the literal meaning, the poetic form, or the underlying mood and association. This scene explores how implicit content can be lost or altered in translation, and why it's so difficult to fully capture the essence of Tyutchev's poetry in another language. The selection of poems for translation plays a crucial role in shaping how a foreign audience perceives an author. For Tyutchev, only his most acclaimed lyrical masterpieces were chosen for Arabic translation, leaving out his more marginal works. While this approach introduces readers to the highlights of his poetic craft, it also creates an incomplete picture of his literary legacy. The absence of lesser-known genres and experimental pieces means that Arabic readers may not fully grasp the diversity and complexity of Tyutchev's oeuvre. Translating Tyutchev's poetry is further complicated by textological issues. Many of his poems exist in multiple versions, with disputed lines and varying interpretations. For example, the poem Cicero has different endings, and even its date is debated, which can affect how readers interpret its historical context. Translators must choose which version to use, sometimes relying on additions that may not reflect the author's final intention. These decisions can lead to the loss of subtle textual ambiguities and historical references, further distancing the translation from the original. Linguistic and cultural differences present significant barriers to translating Tyutchev's implicit meanings. Words like blessed or fatal carry specific connotations in Russian that may not exist in Arabic. The structure of composite epithets, common in Tyutchev's poetry, is difficult to reproduce in Arabic. Additionally, references to Christian symbols, Russian nature, and everyday life may not resonate with Arabic readers. These challenges highlight the complexity of cross-cultural translation and the inevitable shifts in meaning that occur. Despite the many challenges, there are moments when the Arabic translations capture Tyutchev's implicit meanings with surprising accuracy. For instance, in the poem Silentium, the Arabic word chosen for explode also means to make water spring forth, perfectly matching the dual meaning in the original. However, such successes are rare. More often, nuances are lost, like the disappearance of the word mysterious in a key line, or the misinterpretation of important motifs such as fate or abyss. These examples illustrate both the potential and the limitations of poetic translation. In summary, translating Tyutchev's poetry into Arabic reveals both the art and the struggle of literary translation. Most of the implicit content, those subtle shades of meaning, cultural references, and poetic forms, are inevitably lost or transformed. Yet, the rare moments when a translation captures the original spirit are all the more striking. This exploration reminds us that translation is not just about words, but about bridging worlds. Through these efforts, even if imperfect, new readers can discover the beauty and complexity of Tyutchev's poetic universe.